could be 640 meters, awfully straight one. And they contain subtentacular cell, what we call nerve cell, Satori cell. That's inside this tubule. Majorly is held, this one for held sperm growth inside the tubule. And outside endocrine organ, we call interstitial cell. You know this one very well, right? Leydig cell and produce androgen or testosterone. And in the corner we have Rattay testis. It's a network structure. In the corner, they transfer the sperm from seminiferous tubule to infrared ductule. Infrared ductule then will connect to epididymis. Okay. Let's take a look of this one. Of testis, you can see here's testis and many lobule, and inside seminiferous tubule, and you add it together, it could be very, very long. Then inside the tubule, we have this sperm production and nerve cell. And outside the tubule, we have this Leydig cell. And they center the corner here called Rattay testis. Rattay means a network structure. And they had efferent ductile can send out, efferent ductile send to epididymis. Okay, and so that basic structure like that. Then, if we take one more look of the testes, I want to go that here. This one, okay. We're starting to see the inner membrane we call visual tunica vaginalis, but inside it had the other one called tunica abyginia. That's just a kind of fiber, capsule fiber. Okay, and then the cavity, and then parietal tunica vaginalis, and then we have this fascia. And then we have the trapose muscle, and then we have the skin. Okay. So I summarize all this together from the innermost to outside of testes. Tunica abyginia actually is common membrane, fibrous tissue. Okay. And then we have this from the abdominal cavity, visual membrane of tunica vaginalis, parietal membrane or tunica vaginalis. In between will be scrotal cavity, and we have cremaster muscle, and then we have this fascia, and then we have diaphragm muscle and the skin. Okay, scrotum is including the last three altogether. Okay, so from here you know roughly their structure. Okay. Now, if we had a section cut through this one, also you can see it in the chapter 18 from seminiferous tubule, and then you will see the nerve cell, the nerve cell, okay. Interstitial cell or Leydig cell is outside endocrine cell, and inside the big cell in the corner there will be nerve cell. Sustentacular cell or nerve cell or Satori cell. Okay. That's supporting the sperm growth. When they become mature, they send to the lumen one. And then we amplify a little bit more, then you can see that a very strong capture separate the sperm growth in the outside blood capillary. And then we have different stage of sperm growth, primary, secondary. And that's nerve cell. That's nerve cell. Okay. And they create we call barrier, testis barrier. The blood cannot go into this part. Now, important is this function of nerve cell. It creates help build up this blood testis barrier, prevent it mix with immune system. It also helps sperm growth, mitosis, meiosis. We call spermatogenesis, and then supports spermiogenesis. sperm will change from the round shape to the long hair. It also produce inhibin, you know this term, right? Endocrine peptide hormone. It also produce ABP, androgen binding protein, attract the androgen binding layer. It also produce MIF, Mullerian inhibiting factor. This one, MIF, help this testis to descend. Now, to say something more about the ABP, androgen binding protein, produced by nerve cell, because androgen, the concentration is very low, and they had to hold this androgen inside this semifluid tubule, the fluid, okay? So they can increase androgen concentration there and help spermiogenesis, sperm change the shape, okay? And this ABP is affected by FSH. FSH will increase production. The other one is MIF. Before the MIF, you have to know is Mullerian duct. Mullerian duct, actually, you just know, is a female original organ. In the female, it produces uterine tube, or we call fallopian tube, transport the egg, and uterus holding the fetus. So Mullerian duct is female organ. And for the male, in the embryo, they still had it, so they need to inhibit it, okay, and let it not go, okay. So it will cause the regression that inhibit the growth of fetal Mullerian duct in the male, okay. And if they don't have this MIF, then that problem is testes cannot descend to the skeleton, and also will help will show a little bit like female characteristics, okay. And this Mullerian duct is developed in females' ovary. Chapter 18, you know this one, cross section of the lobule of testis. You see this seminiferous tubule, and some has mature sperm. And we amplified it. You can see outside is latex cell or interstitial cell. Inside different stage of sperm growth. This one showing the same thing. Okay, everyone is seminiferous tubule, and outside is endocrine cell. Okay. This one just amplified it. And the sperm later on will change the shape. We call a sperm. We call spermatozoa as a sperm. The pathway of sperm, how they produce first inside the seminiferous tubule and sent to the corner latae testis. And the tube sent out, efferent duct tube sent to epididymis, and through the head, body, tail, and sent to the vas deferens or ductus deferens. And the end of this one we call ampulla of ductus deferens. Sperm will stop in the number 6 year without the sexual activity. And with sexual activity, you will release through ejaculatory duct and send to the center of prostate and then go to the urethra. Then we have accessory gland from prostate send out the fluid. Seminal vesicle, seminal gland send out the fluid. Upper urethral gland send out the fluid. Okay, all together. Now I want to show you is the end of this vas deferens, and this place a little bit enlarged, and we call ampulla of ductus deferens. Sperm will stop here without the sexual activity, and nearby will be seminal gland. Okay, they had a tube to send to the center part of prostate called ejaculatory duct. Okay. This one is just a urethra beginning, that's urine. Okay. Alright, so we have one more look here. I wanted to put ampulla here, circle it, and say sperm stop here without sexual activity. Send to later. And sperm is never sent to seminal vesicle. Sperm will not send to this one. Okay, it just stop here. Okay. From the back side of urinary bladder, you can see better. There's that is different, or that's different, and the end from both sides enlarge, and we call ampulla. Okay, sperm will start here, and nearby with two big organ, accessory organ called seminal vesicle or seminal gland, and they had a tube. Both sides we call ejaculatory duct, and sent to the middle of the prostate, and here is mixed with the urethra, mixed also the urine pathway. And lower a little bit here, actually we had a muscle we call external urethral sphincter. Is a small one here, and the big part here we call it urogenital diaphragm. Okay. And then near there we have a pair of the gland called bulbourethral gland or Cowper's gland. Okay. And that is a structure. I want to go today because for this week's lab, I want to jump quickly for anatomy part. Okay. So for the sperm growth, maybe physiology part, I'll tell you next hour. So sperm production on that, I'll jump to this part. Okay, then we're talking about the next step is epididymis. It's the place to temporarily accumulate the sperm and continue to send it out. A lot of curve actually is very long. When we put it together, it's 7 meters longer than a human body size. Epithelium cell is PSCC, pseudo-certified celiac colony. They can have the celiac to move the sperm. You can monitor the fluid, adjust that, recycle the old spermatozoes, meaning old sperm. If you don't have sexual activity, your sperm will be break down, cut to the protein, and then recycle there. Okay, and you can store the sperm and help them slowly mature. And the one term called capacitation. That means the sperm has free moving the energy, and that one only wait until you mix with the fluid from seminal vesicle, what we call seminal fluid. This one is kind of funny one to show you. All right, probably we can see this one. This one's penis, this testis, epididymis, and then send a long loop. That is different or less different, and ending to the ampulla. And nearby, they didn't show you the seminal vesicle. Cannot see very well. And when sperm reach to this place, it's not quite. They cannot move it very quickly yet. They only wait until mix the fluid from seminal vesicle when they eject to ejaculated duct, and then they gain the energy and to move out. Okay, so the sperm up here is kind of immature, cannot move. Okay, but if mixed with the seminal fluid from seminal vesicle, and become very active, and you can swim very fast. Okay, now. So that's epididymis, and okay. Just know the epithelium cell very very special. Is PSCC. We do that slide question later. Okay, it's this one. PSCC. Okay, and the celiac is very long, and here the center is a lot of sperm there. Not quite mature yet. Epithelium cell is pseudo-certified celiac colony. Epithelium cell And celiac is so long, so we call stereo celiac. This one, memorize this one. Stereo celiac. Stereo celiac. In the test, I'll maybe ask you where we can find this stereo celiac. Your answer is epididymis. This one look like here, the slide. It's from all the way head to the tail. Then I will ask you to look at the slide. It looks like it's many cells, actually only one layer cell, PSCC. And look at the celiac here, very long. Okay, center part is sperm. Now I show you cut through. One part is epididymis, and one part is testis. And you can see the difference. In the testis, you see a lot of different type of the cell because different stage of sperm growth. And in the epididymis, single one layer is PSCC. Okay, and center part is more mature sperm. In the testis, the residue is not quite mature, but this one is little bit better. Okay, and that's the one I wanted to know. Okay. All right. Now that's PSCC, and the slide look like here. This one is epididymis. Okay. The tube that's different. It has strong muscle. Then at the same cell, it's still PSCC, pituitary celiac current, and you can see the celiac as on the surface. Now this new addition show you the same thing. There's difference. Very strong muscle. We also have a slide show you that there's in our lab, you will see this one. Sperm, medical term is spermatozoa. This tube here is different or not different. It's pseudocerai celiac cell. We had the other slide show you very well. That's very strong muscle. That's PSCC and that's sperm. Spermatozoa inside from the vesicle. We will show you more in the lab. Now the second accessory organ is prostate gland. It contributes to 30% of the semen, and it also contains the ejaculated duct inside. You have the urethral pathway there. But unfortunately, in that, when people are getting old, over the 50 years old, and sometimes we call benign because it is not cancer, okay, but it's hypertrophy, overgrowth. Age is the one reason, and the other reason is the testosterone will change to hydrogen the molecule called dihydrotestosterone, DHT, and they will produce. And they will let this prostate enlarge. And the male also produces a little bit estrogen, and also let it bigger. The fluid is acidic. In all the fluid in the male is alkaline. Only this part is acidic. Okay. And it contains three important things called seminoplasmic, clotting enzyme, and fibrinolysin. Okay. Anti-clotting enzyme. So it's opposite enzyme. One is make the sperm clot, and one is dissolved anti-clotting. And it also has antibiotics, can kill bacteria inside the female reproductive tract. Okay. And if it is benign or enlarged, it's okay, but we don't want to get a cancer. So how we detect this enlargement? The best way is by blood test called PSA, prostate specific antigen. usually should be less than 4, and then it will be healthy. And then we also can do by finger called digital rectal exam. They encourage people over 50 to do this once per year. Let me show you something. Okay, how the doctor do it? Okay, you're going to be a doctor, right? If you are a family doctor, the guy over 50 and the check annual checkup. Prostate is right here. Okay, and the doctor how to do it? Doctor will wear the gloves, of course. Okay, put some lubricate, and the doctor will insert to the anus, okay, and will make a curve and touch to the surface of the prostate because it only has one muscle there, and it will move, touch, and then move right and the left, okay, and while the touch if the soft, healthy, and move the right or left if smooth, healthy, if something rough, okay, some spot there, and that means it's going to be enlargement or maybe cancer. Doing this kind of procedure is without anesthesia, okay? So not quite happy that we do, okay? And so maybe your dad don't want to do it, or your uncle don't want to do it, okay? But you have to tell him, go and do it, okay? Digital rectal exam, okay? That is annual checkup for male. Can do this, okay? They also can do the ultrasound. How they do it? They can do surgery to treat it, or they can use a chemical castration. That means use a drug or GMI analog to reduce the testosterone. Okay. All right. Now the next organ that is different. I just mentioned that. Also 40 centimeters, very long. Okay, all together. It also PSCC sugar certified. Okay. Enlarged part we call ampulla. That's enlarged. And accessory gland, seminar gland or seminar vesicle. The fluid is alkaline, and fluid is very important for sperm to get energy. Why? Because it contains fructose. It's kind of sugar, right? So we call starting calcification. That the sperm can move. Okay. It also has prostaglandin for muscle contraction. Prostaglandin is a paracrine, leukocyte. Help when it enters the female vagina and how this muscle can contract. It also has fibrinogen. We know this term in the blood. It is the number 3 plasma protein. When they mix fibrinogen, it can change. It's a soluble. It can change to fibrin. Fibrin is a solid one, right? But here's a sperm. They can make the sperm become clogged with the help of the protein enzyme from prostate. Okay, now take one more look here. That is seminar vesicle, another chamber, and fructose, okay, and fibrinogen, and mixed with the sperm. Sperm can get the energy. All right, and then go to the duct we call ejaculatory duct, only 2 centimeters. That it will open to the middle of the prostate. They will open to the very short distance, right side, left side, to here. And so only during the sexual activity, you will eject this sperm together with this seminar fluid. All right. And then it will go to the tube called urethra for male. It's very long, 7 to 8 inches, 20 centimeters. Oh, very long. Divided into 3 parts: prostatic urethra, membrane urethra, spongy urethra. What do you mean? Okay. This one, the inside the urethra, inside the prostate, called prostatic urethra. And inside the body here called membranous urethra. And this one is outside in the penis here called spongy urethra. So it's 3 sections. Okay. All right. Now we continue to go down to the semen. That means the sperm mixed with the fluid. If you're a healthy one, you are not very sexually active. Normally, you should have one injection. You have 2 to 5 ml. Okay, and it contains how many spermatozoa sperm? Every ml roughly 20 to 100 million. And so if time 5, then you can see how much it is. Okay, so if time 5, you can reach to 500 million. That means half billion. Okay, sperm. It mixed with a seminal fluid, account for 60% of the fluid. Then prostate 30%. Epididymis about 5%. Upper urethra less than 5%. Okay, and they contain a lot of enzyme. They can have protease digest the mucus from the vagina. Seminal plasmic is antibiotic can kill bacteria. They had clotting enzyme, also secrete from prostate, can make the sperm coats. Fibrinolysin, lysine means disorder. That means anti-clotting. They can that is clotting, sperm clotting dissolve after about 15 to 30 minutes. Clotting semen then dissolve fibrinolysin and become free moving sperm. So if we go back to here, during the sexual activity, okay, some part of the sperm, the semen, mixed with a fibrinogen from seminal vesicle and become clot. And after 15-30 minutes, and we have the other enzyme, anti-clotting enzyme or fibrinolysin, make this clotting semen become free moving. Why we have this kind of trouble? Let me show you. Here, just from the other textbook, show you this is a female uterus, vagina. Okay, and here's opening. During the sexual activity is this one. The penis will insert here and sperm will eject. Okay, but unfortunately, the opening of the cervix here is kind of small, and so roughly less than 50% of sperm will go directly inside the uterus and go up to this we call uterine tube or fallopian tube, and if the ovary ovulate, release the egg, and they can mix here and they can fertilize. But most of maybe 50%, maybe 70% of sperm is located where? Outside the very terminal corner of the vagina. Okay, and we had a medical term called fornix. And so, what happened for the sperm to survive? Because sperm like alkaline and vagina is acidic, and so the first thing the sperm locate outside is they form a clot to protect themselves. Just like a soldier landing in the other country, a land, and first they group together, right? Protect themselves to survive in the first time, okay? And so it becomes clot, and after about 15-30 minutes, they get used to the environment, and then they had an anti-clotting enzyme and then dissolve this sperm, and sperm has second chance to go in this uterus, go into fallopian tube. Okay, and that is why we need to have two procedures. When sperm eject and locate outside of the uterus, it forms a clot from a sperm fibril clot, and it stay there 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and then become free moving sperm by this fibrinolysin or anti-clotting enzyme. Okay. Then I show some things here for prostate. I don't ask you to know this. I only ask you to know that seminal vesicle because it's very special. It looks like this one. The fluid, the pink color here, is seminal fluid inside, and they have a lot of curve here. It looks like tube here, center here, and they contain fructose, prostaglandin, fibrinolysin. And so that's one I just mentioned there. And so what is your take-home point? Okay, I have to tell the lady, some of you just married. Okay. Very important thing for you is if you marry and you want to have a baby. Okay, so after sexual activity, the sperm go in maybe less than 50%, and most of them stay outside, become clogged. And so the take-home point is, after sexual activity, you have to stay on the bed for about 30 minutes. Why? You let the sperm a second chance, dissolve it, and get into, and then will go in. Get it? Okay. And maybe you need to turn your body position. But the opposite is not true. Okay. Some girls, especially in the high school, say, okay, I want sexual activity. I don't want to have a baby. Very easy. After sexual activity, I just stand up and I jump. Jump very hard, okay? So everything, the sperm will go out. Too late. Not working, okay? Because when the sperm go in, I would say maybe only 40%, 50%, they're very strong. They will hold it. They never jump it down from this uterus. Okay? So it's not a way for birth control, jumping. Okay. But it's good, facilitate the chance for pregnancy. You stay a little bit longer. Okay. And that sperm has a chance, the second chance, dissolve and go in. Test will never tell you about this. Now we move to the corpus gland, or bulbourethra gland. It also alkaline fluid. And what it look like? Very small one, only account for 5% of fluid here. And this one different from this seminal vesicle. It can secrete the mucus even without sexual activity. You guys maybe know that very well. If let's say in a long weekend you don't have anything to do, you just read some magazine or watch some TV. You're not supposed to see. Okay, a lot of beautiful girls. Okay, they don't wear many things. Okay, and you look at it. Oh, very exciting. Okay, and after maybe 30 minutes or 1 hour, you find out you got wet inside your underwear. Okay, something coming out, mucus. Where are they coming from? From this one, bulbourethra gland. Because it's not your volunteer control. Okay, it's involuntary control. Because you had this kind of sexual desire or something, and this gland automatically release. This guy may be prepared for sexual deed, so I better lubricate this pathway. So there already something come out. Okay. Upper urethral gland is only count of 5%. Now we go to the penis. Okay, let me finish this part. We divide to the root and the body and the glands. Root had two parts, right and left. Body we also go to shape. The gland and the body, they had a neck between these two parts and covered by a foreskin called prepuce. Take a look out here. This one's old version, okay? It tells you the deep part here is root, and then we have body and the glands. The new addition call it crus, that's root, okay? And the body and the gland. And I have to say is this gland that prepuce already cut out, so you cannot see the skin. And if we had a cross section, then you will see a three bundle here. Two bundle on the dorsal side called corpora cavernosa. And the ventral side here we call corpora spongiceps. Spongiceps meaning very soft. And urethra is in the middle part here. Let me finish this first. They say it's involved nitric oxide. It causes vessel dilation. That means the blood vessel filled with the blood, and so they call enlarge and erection. And when this erection is over and not erection, we call flaccid. Two bundles, erectile is two corpora cavernosa and one spongiceps. Okay. I want to say here is a root here, where it enters, it touches to where? It touches to the ilium bone here. It touches to ischium here, this two parts. It's just lower than this ilium bone here. And it's a very strong ligament touched to there. Alright, so this one can show you from one angle. You should have two roots. Okay. Cavernosa is erectile tissue, and the center part had a central artery, there. Okay. Spongiceps is a little bit soft, and they had a urethra in the middle. Small arteries. Okay. Now to say something about prepuce or skin, foreskin. It's covered is the penis, the top area. There has some exocrine gland called prepuce gland, and they have some material called waxy material called smegma. That means it needs the salt to clean it. Okay, and it's easy to cause bacteria to grow in that neck area, and so end up with people they cut it out called circumcision, cut through that, and so they can make this prepucial gland a little bit less and produce less the waxy material. Okay. I say something a little bit circumcision. They mean cut it out. Benefit is can reduce the cervical cancer in female during sexual activity. It also can partially reduce sexual transmitted disease. Okay. It can reduce urinary tract infection, but not 100%. Okay. But it had no effect increase or decrease sexual activity. You cut out the skin or without it same thing. And in USA, it's a insurance coverage, so 75% of men already prepared this one. Canada, they don't cover it, only 30%. Europe, they don't cover it, so they don't cut it. Some NC area even lower, okay. And in the Muslim area or in the Israel area, there's 100% they do circumcision because of the religion. Okay, now I want to show you is where is the prepuce. It's right here. This one is without circumcision, so you can see that. And the neck is right here. And this part easy to accumulate bacteria there. And this part is completely cut it out. And so much easier to clean it. Okay, reduce this waxy material called smegma, but not 100% reduce that. Okay, so what is important thing for you to know this is, okay, let me see. For ladies, yeah, very important. You want to reduce your cervical infection or cancer. So when you have sexual activity, I would say, suppose you be your husband, right? And you have to check very carefully, okay? If not clean, check, okay? All right. So you have to set a rule in your family when you marry, okay? The first thing you can clean up, otherwise you have consequences. All right. So memorize this one, okay? Very important. Next thing I want to say is, okay. One day after lecture, a guy came to me and said, no, it's after lecture. I say, if you have any question, you hesitate to ask me in public, you can send me an email. And a guy quickly sent me an email. He said, I took shower after exercise with some of my friends in a dormitory, okay? And I find out my penis is shorter than the other guy, okay? What can I do? If you had any kind of medicine or medical device, make it longer or bigger, okay? I said, no way, my dear Jose. It's too late. Just like you cannot make your nose a little longer, right? Or your ear a little longer. If you just cannot make it longer, okay? That's genetic that way. But I say you are okay. You are 100% okay for your reproductive function. Okay. If someone challenges you guys, okay, so the length of the penis is too short, and you tell the guy, okay, because penis divided to two parts. One is outside, you can see it, bigger or longer, and one is deep. Okay, and you have to tell the guy, because I have deep foundation and very strong, very firm, and so the outside is very short. Okay, and so not only believe something you see, you can see, you have to believe something you don't see it. It's foundation. Okay, so that's very deep foundation. Touch to the bone here. Okay, touch to the bone here. Okay, so don't worry about your size. You are okay. You're 100% okay. All right. Take a break. Now we'll come back.